Hello dear friends, I have never seen so much commentary on these dates as now, but there is a lack of hard facts. Opening piece. Avalanche. Avalanche risk. Time to wake up. Avalanche of events. The ball starts rolling. The bubble could burst. A soft landing is difficult. We have run out of runway. Wall Street falls to the lowest of the year. Asia is betting on hydrogen. Massive flight cancellations in China. 90 countries align themselves with BRICS. Massive prayer proposal on Saturday 24th. Let's start. The disappearance of the Queen has started the ball rolling around the world. A ball is a spherical body of any matter. To start the ball rolling means to start a process or an activity. To let the ball roll means to let an event or business run its course without intervening in it, or to watch with detachment as events unfold. The role means to be willing to serve humankind no matter how difficult it may be. An avalanche, also known is the displacement of a layer of snow in a sloping area that moves downhill with a speed that can vary. An avalanche is a large mass of snow that collapses violently and loudly from the mountains, or a large mass of material that detaches from a slope, rushing down the slope. Avalanches can occur at any time of the day. Avalanches have been used in many fictional stories set in snowy environments, often for humorous purposes. An example is Disney's Mulan. In these cases, it is very common for an avalanche to occur as a consequence of having produced too much noise, as in Tintin in Tibet, or in the Simpsons episode Mountain of Madness. According to Milan Kundera, culture is succumbing under the volume of production, the avalanche of letters, the madness of quantity. That is why I tell you that one book banned in your country means infinitely more than the millions of words spewed out by our universities. All this paragraph was in quotes. Reset news. The New York stock market falls to a one-year low and oil plummets after the Fed rate hike. The Fed raises interest rates and confirms it will continue on this path. According to Jerome Powell, the likelihood of a soft landing is likely to diminish to the extent that policy has to be tighter. Switzerland's central bank carried out its biggest interest rate hike on Thursday. According to Graham Stephan, the Fed has just crashed the market and a soft landing is difficult. Forget a soft landing because we have run out of runway. The US Treasury acknowledges that inflation is causing a sense of economic insecurity. Billionaire Ray Dalio says the stock market has further to fall before a recession arrives. According to Mike Maloney, the bubble of almost everything is going to burst. According to John Juan Sabin, the central focus of the whole operation is to reverse the effects of a coup that occurred in the assassination of President Kennedy. According to a message from Scavino, the direction is clear and justice is at hand. The dark side's push is failing. Everything they are trying now will be exposed, and the people will see the truth. People will demand change, justice and accountability. This moment is fast approaching. Donald Trump has posted a video on his social network that begins with an image showing a giant letter over his face and a text that reads, "Information warfare, it's time to wake up." According to Lynette Thang, the crisis is deepening and Europe is heading for trouble. They don't want you to have physical metal in your possession, because that's out of their reach. But people are holding precious metals. According to Gregory Mannarino, billionaire investors are warning that disaster is looming. Credit Suisse believes that the rich will continue to get richer even in the face of a recession, especially in China. According to the X22 report, countries are moving away from central bank digital currency. Most countries have moved from central banks to a national bank. National banks will keep their currency. Some countries have not divorced themselves from central banks. The banks in these countries are in dire straits, which puts each country in trouble. The BRICS have now lined up in 82 countries, which will be 90 countries this weekend. Japan, India, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and other Middle Eastern countries are among the 29 countries in the evaluation baskets. Other countries will be included in a second basket. Charlie Watt said that as of 24th September, the last date of the year in the Julian calendar, something major could be announced. And there is a risk of false flag attacks at any time. You are about to witness the greatest transfer of wealth and power in the history of humankind. 24th September marks the last day of the Golden Jubilee year, while the following day on Sunday, 25th September, was the Feast of Trumpets, which marks a new year or a new beginning in the Hebrew calendar. On 1st October, the new fiscal year begins in the USA. The massive cancellation of flights in China has no clear reason. Almost 60% of flights were cancelled on Wednesday. The Swiss-based Octagon Group is in the process of being dismantled by a revolution. The Vatican Bank withdraws its assets because they know an economic collapse is coming. According to Cardinal Gerhard Ludwig Miller, the theory of the Pope's unlimited power contradicts the whole Christian tradition. Low-emission hydrogen will increase 16 to 24 times by 2030. Hydrogen cars. Unlike Europe, where there are only a handful of hydrogen cars on sale and some 228 filling stations, Asia is going hydrogen. Bulgaria declares a state of emergency due to migration pressure on the border with Turkey. Proposal for mass prayer in reference to the mystery of the 24th. Taking into account the current need to advance in perceptual clarity, the best option of event that we could opt for this 24th would be the famous solar flash, clearing turbulence from the soul, drastically increasing the famous critical mass and atmospherically cleaning the planet of hypnotic dust, would usher in a great leap forward and would be a great move on the part of the solar hierarchies in charge of the divine plan. Remember that the Simpsons are the best prophets at the moment, and they speak of a magnetic pulse and a celestial explosion on that day. A psychotronic unification towards what would be the best of the options of becoming is prayed for and awaited. Prayer, trust and joy. Sign it, Cosmo-Military Counterintelligence Commandos of Convergent Biostellar Entanglement. NOAA meteorologists say minor G1 class geomagnetic storms are possible today and tomorrow, September 23rd and 24th, when high-speed solar wind stream is expected to hit the Earth's magnetic field. Gaseous material flows from an equatorial hole in the Sun's atmosphere. Solar flare. Will there be a solar event or solar flare? By the Arcturian Council 9D through Daniel Scranton. The gateway to the fifth dimension is not somewhere. It is not an event that takes place outside of you. It's not a solar flare. It is you. It is you who opens that doorway so consistently that you forget everything you feared, or were judging or resisting. We want you to have selective memory and selective attention so that you can allow your true self to come forth and not only be a part of this beautiful planet Earth, but we invite you to see yourself as who you are there to set an example to others of how to be and how to thrive. Will there be an event or a solar flare or something at some point in the future? Possibly. But will it matter to those of you who have discovered the portal that exists within you, a portal that takes you directly into your fifth dimensional self? Therefore, we want to take you away from the predictions and prophecies and bring you back to yourself, for your higher fifth dimensional self is seeking more integration, not more separation. Your fifth dimensional higher self is not looking to build a spaceship to get out of your crazy world and away from those who are ruining it for everyone. And that is because your higher self very much enjoys the challenge of staying and transforming the world and the collective consciousness. Be a love that is so undeniable that you transform every person, every being that comes your way. That experience is far more powerful than something happening outside of you to rescue you from yourself, from others, from those with whom you disagree. Americas. Unemployment in Argentina falls to a 7-year low, but informality is high. Argentina's fiscal deficit grows 124% in the first 8 months of the year. Argentina's external debt total $274,837 billion in the second quarter of 2022. Argentina estimates that the soybean dollar, which dropped 25% more foreign currency than expected, will attract. Alberto Fernández promotes Argentina's jewel Vaca Muerta in the US. The only way for millions of young people to gain access to university education is to take on debt in order to study. The notion of education as a right and not as a consumer good has been lost. The President of Colombia announces the purchase of land for agrarian reform. Petro announces that in a matter of days he will propose a multilateral ceasefire. Peruvian grape exports will exceed 600,000 tons in the 22-23 season. Peruvian police rescue more than 940 trafficked persons so far this year. Women and girls the most affected by human trafficking. Guatemalan peasants reject anti-rights laws and political persecution. The reception program for Central American minors in the US faces bottlenecks. Panama advocates at the United Nations to build a new world that protects the planet. El Salvador decreased maximum alert for rains. Cuba and Puerto Rico are one village, according to independence leader Julio Muriente. The Dominican Republic calls for international collaboration to stabilize Haiti. Ecuador joins the alliance between Costa Rica, Panama, and the Dominican Republic. Russia accuses the West of starting a new Cold War and calls for actions as in the missile crisis. The United Nations demands the removal of obstacles to the export of Russian fertilizers. Erdogan seeks to work with Moscow to create a payment system after US threats. Russia forecasts record grain harvest of 142 million tons in 2022. Russia forecasts oil production of 550 million tons this year. Putin and Saudi Crown Prince discuss ways to achieve stability in the oil market. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.